For all the people who judge without knowing, just throw the peace on, tell them good vibes only, yeah. They were hating, but we didn't even know.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wake Up World
Enlightenment Now
Podcast. This is podcast number 1. We're going to start telling about ourselves.
Yes.
So these podcasts, they are for spirituality and learning about enlightenment, awakening, tips and tricks to do all these things, and to also learn about our processes that we went through. So this podcast is going to focus on Erik.
Hey.
And his awakening. Just ignore helicopters.
Yeah, there's helicopters right now. Make sure to cut that out.
It's the paparazzi. It's okay.
They don't want us sharing this knowledge with you, so I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
All right, I want to do the question asking here. So, how long ago did your awakening process begin for you? Like,
I actually started my awakening process about a little bit over a year ago. Back then, I was going through a really hard phase in my life. I was doing crystal meth and cocaine, partying, drinking, all kinds of just sex with random people, and going through a horrible time in my life. And I kept seeing 666 on almost a daily basis at my current job, and at the time. And people kept saying, like, it's the mark of the beast, the devil's after you, all kinds of stuff. And then it wasn't just me noticing this, they were noticing this too. And they were like, any time that your name is around, 666 is associated with it. And I couldn't figure out what was going on at the time in my life. And then I started researching numerology.
Yes.
And 666 told me that, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. They're trying to, like, shut me up.
Well, that one's low.
I know. I'm going to let that one go by. I don't want to start that question over.
It's like a military plane.
Seriously, they don't want me telling, like, okay, that's how I've taken it. That's how I'm taking it.
Well,
we're going to put a spell and bind the military from flying planes over us now today.
So whenever you saw that, like, the number 666 at the time before you realized that things were happening, did it scare you?
Yeah.
Because what other people might be saying to you?
It was scared me personally because I knew 666 supposedly was mark of the beast. It's been associated with it being such a demonic number, or just a very negative vibration, or whatever you want to say. So when people were telling me, like, oh my God, it's the devil's with you, or like it's all stuff, I went more into myself and I started doing the research for myself. And when I found out that 666 was a sign from my guardian angel saying that it was time to turn my life over to my spiritual path, I didn't really know how to take that. Like, I don't know what this means. So I had told my job at the time that I needed to go to church. And the day that I went to try to go to church, my tires were flat. I'll never forget that.
Oh, wow.
And I freaked out, and I was bawling. I had to take my roommate's car just to get to church. Like, seriously, I was home for less than 30 minutes. I came in, I ate something, I went downstairs, and my tires are flat. Something or someone does not want me going to church, and I had not been to church in years. And then I went to church. A lady saw me crying, was asking me if I was okay. She put her hand on me and said, tomorrow you're going to lose your job, and God wants me to tell you everything's going to be okay. And I thought this lady was absolutely insane. Like, wow. You're crazy. No. I went to work the next day and I was fired.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Wow.
And I knew at that point that everything was going to start falling into place. I lost my job in the same day, and a previous employer of mine, a previous boss, called me and said, hey, do you want to just come work for me? I know, seriously, the damn planes.
We were here for so long before this, and they were off in the distance. Now they're over the top of us.
There was no planes when we first got here to set up.
Oh, wow.
Seriously.
Oh, my goodness.
We might have to do a binding.
So were you raised around religion, or?
I was raised Catholic. I remember doing my first communion. I think I was around 13 or 14 at that point. My stepdad's more into religion. My mom's not so much into church anymore. We went to our church as a family when we were younger, and then divorce happened. Kind of tore the whole family apart. Everyone kind of lost their connection with God and Christ, is how I view all of us now. And I'm like the baby, and I'm the first one turning back to say, hey, it's time for us to go back within and go back towards Christ and go back towards God. I do not associate myself with a religion just because I'm at a point where I am researching all religions to connect the dots. I think that they all lead to something else. And I think that all religions box you in and says, well, you're only allowed to learn this. And if you go over here and you learn this, then there's something wrong with you, or that's wrong, or you're going to hell. And I'm like, so I research all kinds of religions, all different kinds of books, all different kinds of traditions, thought process, even like what tribes do in Africa and stuff, and learning that they all kind of pertain to me in a different aspect, and they're all kind of like the similar story at the end of the day. So
exactly, it's like if you put them all in a pot, all different religions and beliefs, put them in a pot, stir them up, you're going to get the truth.
Yeah, I'm like,
you'll boil out the truth.
I think it's absolutely insane, and it's so true too. I think it's like so true. And so when people tell me, I have a Facebook friend that always is quoting me stuff that I'm going to hell, and I'm like, you haven't had your awakening, you don't understand what it's like to have an awakening. And for those of you who have not had an awakening, it is a life-changing experience. It's seriously, when I look back at what I was into, what I thought was fun, what I was doing with my life, how I didn't care about myself or who I was or value myself or my life or my temple, and then to stop like a 15-year crystal meth cocaine addiction in less than 48 hours. I didn't have to fucking go to rehab. Sorry for cussing. I didn't have to go to rehab. I didn't have to go do that. I did it all on my own by going in and finding that I'm better than this, and I don't have to sit there and go before people. And this is the first time that I'm sharing my story, but I'm very happy as to how far I've come in a year and like a month or two, because I woke up in August of last year. So. Oh
wow, you've done a lot in a very short period of time. Most times it takes people years and years to get that far, but I think that nowadays people are waking up like
faster.
Yeah, it's faster. It's like they're in this fast program for waking up.
And then you would find out that like we're waking up light workers, earth angels, all kinds of stuff like that. But then at the same time, you're like, I'm just barely going through this process right now. And I have people like, hey, it started for me. Like, what do I need to do? I'm like, whoa, calm down.
Yeah.
I don't know everything yet, but I can tell you what I do know and what has helped me get to where I'm at. And I have lots of friends that are now becoming more open and aware of their thoughts, the way they talk, the way they speak, more about crystals, more about, guides, guardian angels, archangels, numerology. I'm really into numerology and numbers, and I get my signs every day. I got one before we came, so I'm like very happy.
Oh, awesome.
And I had to talk about telling my story, and by speaking about who or what you are, what you've been through, has a healing process on you and your body.
Yes.
And so that's what we're doing.
So have you had, like, since you have had your awakening process, have you had any, like, physical symptoms? A lot of people will have arthritis or...
I always have a lot of soreness in my back. Whenever I was going through my awakening a year ago, I literally, my roommate had mentioned it, like, you literally get up, you go to work, you come home, you sleep for 15 hours until the next day.
Yeah.
And I had lost all drive to, like, get up and even go to a bar or go, I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah. And
I was just so tired. And then out of nowhere, we're cutting off cable and I'm starting to read books. And I'm like, something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm reading books, and like that's just not something that I normally was into, and now it's just something that I'm really passionate about. I'm like, and I love reading, and so everyone's like, hey, you want to come? I'm like, I don't watch TV hardly. I'll watch a DVD here and there. I hardly ever go to the movies. If I rent anything, I make sure it's like comedy and gonna make me laugh. And I'm always reading, and I just don't understand. I still don't understand, but I do enjoy the fact that I read books now, and I'm like, I'm expanding my knowledge and my wisdom. So while people are out like dancing and partying and doing drugs and stuff, which I'm not judging because I've already went through that, I'm like, I'm at home staying home reading a book and seeing how much further I can get along, because I know at some point they're going to go through that, and I'm going to be the one that's going to have to help them through it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, so I'm just trying to prepare myself as much as possible.
Absolutely, yeah, because they come out of nowhere whenever people need help. I have random people that have never even met me, and they're like, I heard you could help me. I felt like you could help me, or I don't know who you are, but I was told that you could help me.
Yeah.
And they can't tell me who told them. So
I have people like that at my current job now. They'll come up to you like, you're always in such a good mood, and I'm always having to give them words of wisdom, and I'm like, where did that, I didn't read that. Where did that just come from? I'm like, who and what is speaking through me? So I get it a lot, and then at the same time I joke around a lot with people, and they're like, I can turn it on and turn it off, and I'm learning like I have to go from third dimension and how we say, like, dumb yourself down just a little bit, or act like you don't know, and then you get into their world or their realm.
Yeah.
And then I help them like start like realizing, well, this is why it's like that. It's because of the way that you speak or the way that you talk about others, and then that's the way that it's manifesting into your reality. So I'm having to learn how to watch what I say as well, and I'm learning that. And I've been the most peaceful and happy in 36 years of my life, and I wouldn't change it for the world at all.
Wow, that's awesome. So since you started awakening, have you noticed any, what people would consider supernatural abilities? Like for me, for instance, with me, I can play around with energy and make people stay away from me or allow them near me. So do you notice anything that's...
Well, whenever we had first, me and you met, I have the thing where whenever I'm turning off lights, they flicker.
Yes.
So I've gotten that. We did the side wheel together, so you're teaching me more about energy. My intuition, I think, is more of what I'm being more powerful at, because I'm being able to tell, this is a good scenario, this is a bad scenario. Like back then, you're just going through like, I don't care, I don't care. I'm like, woo, this is literally a test. Do I take the left path? Do I take the right path? What, do I eat that today or do I not? Like I'm always, and numerology and angel numbers is like my thing. Like it's nonstop every day. Sometimes I try to turn it off and I'm like, I need y'all to leave me alone for a day. Like I just want to. Nope. I'm like, if I want to like sleep in or something will go off, a phone will ring, it'll be 1111, 911, 222, 333, 444. And I'm like, dear Jesus, like, I don't understand sometimes. But then I'll go and I'll research something. And it's like, you need to like feng shui your house and clean today. And I'm like, okay, I get the message. Like, I guess I'll get up and clean house. And that's like the one thing that I'm in the process of doing is decluttering. Because I'm learning that I have to declutter not just my life and my thoughts and my emotions and my mind, but I also have to declutter possessions because it's all material and I can't take it with me anyways.
Absolutely.
And my roommate, I have this pile of just shit. Sorry. And they're like, are you going to go through this? Or I'm like, I have to go through everything. I'm a person that wants to touch everything to see if I'm still attached to it or can I throw it away. And I'm like, and so that's probably going to be like the next thing that I'm going to do like this coming weekend, because there's just a lot of stuff that I need to rid myself of. But I want to, and they're like, just pack everything up and throw it away. And I'm like, but then I'll never know what was in it. And like, so I'm there at that point and I'm like, I don't know if it's just me being.
Plus, if you're anything like me, you would, if there's some things you want to get rid of, then it's like, well, but I don't need these extra blankets. I mean, but there's lots of homeless people here and they could use them. So
well, I did that last year when I was going through my awakening. I found myself being more loving and kind to strangers. And so when Hurricane Harvey had hit, we had just redone my bathroom and I had all these new towels and new plates and new dishes and kitchens and stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm just boxing all this stuff up and giving it away. And I remember my mom getting on to me like, what are you doing? Like, I just bought you all that. And I'm like, there's people without towels and blankets. Like, I have to give them, like,
exactly.
And then I'm like, I've lost it to the point, well, I haven't lost it. I'm more, a little bit.
We all have.
I'm like, a little bit. But like homeless people, I'm like, I try to talk to them. I'm giving them drinks. I'm giving them water. I'm giving them money whenever I'm driving by. I've let them in my car. Like it was raining and I just saw this person standing there and I'm like, just get in. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
At that point, knew like while we were in the car, all these thoughts were going through my head. Like, I could get shot. I could get stabbed. all this could happen to me. And then I'm at the same time, I'm like, no, Erik, you're doing God's work. Like, there's no reason to have any fear.
Imagine what the homeless person's thinking. Yeah. The same thing.
Right. I'm like, you're helping someone. And I took him to go eat and gave him a drink. And then he decided to stay there. And I mean, that's fine. And so like, I always tell myself, even though that I may not have a lot, I do have a lot in a way. And I have an awareness of like what I give, I'll get in return now. And back then, like majority of the humanity is super greedy and super doesn't want to help. And I'm like, I'm at that point where I'm just like, what is wrong with everyone? And I'm like, I seriously understand I'm one of the first or second waves to awaken or someone from my, not timeline, but like my age. Yeah. I'm like, and I'm just really, really, really passionate about helping others now.
When you started to awaken, did you feel like you were going crazy?
Oh.
I did. I was like, whoa. Yeah. Who are you?
So everyone knows about like the whole Britney Spears 2007 thing with the shaving of her head. Yeah. Literally, I did that a year ago. So I didn't do it because I was going crazy. Well, I was. Something was going on, and it had to do with the crown chakra because I've researched it enough now that it says like there will be tingling in your crown chakra. And about a year ago, so much tingling was going on that I was pulling out my hair. And I had made like a baseball sized bald spot.
Yeah.
But now it's all, I've manifested a whole head of hair again, and I won't ever cut my hair again because this is all my power and knowledge. But I'm American, or I'm a Cherokee Indian, and I've realized that Cherokee Indians are just Native Indians. That's how they commune with spirit. Or that's how you have your powers. That's where your gifts come from. And then I researched into African dreadlocks and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow, when you think of how people are always cutting their hair, the military or other associations make you do that. So whatever you believed in before will be wiped away, and then you're able to be reprogrammed. And I'm like, okay, so let me get rid of all my false beliefs and all the stuff that I believe in at that time, about a year ago. And I was like, I'm just going to shave my head. And I remember my roommate coming home, and I'm in the mirror shaving my head, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I am having my moment. And I remember right after that, the next day I woke up and I felt like for about a month I played hide and seek with God. It felt like I was playing hide and seek with Creator. Like every day, I would find Him in somewhere, some way, somehow, whether it be through food, through a message, through a book or something. Like I wasn't even trying to search. I was just going out and experiencing the world as if I was like a 4-year-old kid who had walked back into this world at 36. Like, what is going on? And I didn't work for almost 4 months after I lost my job, and I remember my parents getting on to me and saying, you need to be out there, and you need to be getting a job, you need to be doing this. And anytime that I've been a server, I couldn't get a job serving tables, I couldn't get a job at a gas station. The universe literally held me back, and what I had read and what my spiritual messages that were coming through was like, this is a time for you to have time with God. And so all I did was start reading the Bible, and then different Bibles and different versions of different Bibles and hidden Gospels and all kinds of hidden knowledge. And that whole time, everything financially was taken care of. I didn't have to worry. I did have the worry in the back of my head, but I just kept saying, I release my financial status and I release all my financial burdens onto you, Lord. And if I'm diving in to get closer to you, I know that everything will pan out. And they tried to evict us 3 different times, and every time that the eviction came around, the leasing agent had been fired.
Wow.
And so it was like,
That's
what?
amazing.
And so and everything ended up getting paid, and I'm learning now. Like, so even when I look at my bank account and I see sometimes that I don't have that, I don't even let that affect me anymore. I'm like, no, that's just $1 million. It's always $1 million, no matter what. Like, I just tell myself that's what it is, and crazy stuff, like, stuff just happens. People bring me food, and people bring me drinks, and people give me cash, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But thank you.
It really is all in the mindset and the intention behind everything. So
and as long as I'm trying to help others, I feel like I'm doing, and I'm trying to help others, but tell my story. Like, this is going to help on another way. Someone who did cocaine and crystal meth could be going through this this year, and I've met another person online on Facebook that lives in New York, and he found God in Christ consciousness through going through this whole crystal meth awakening. And crystal meth's not something that you should be messing with or anything, but we were both on drugs, and then they say, like, that thing, like, he takes the weak because of the strongest or whatever, and I'm like, I totally understand all this. I'm like, I have a lot of life lessons learned at 36, and people are like, oh, I got this and houses and cars and fame and money, and I'm like, but you have not fallen and rose again.
Exactly.
I'm like, and I'm
Yep.
I'm on that path. I love it.
So did you lose a lot of friends and family did they just fall away when you started to awaken?
I have not been, I have my roommate, my best friend of 15 years. She watched me go through it very personally. Like, she would come home and I'd be crying sometimes. Like, I don't know if I should be here or if I should be taking my life. I don't know if God's trying to tell me that I'm dying and I'm not coming back. I don't know. I would just listen to gospel music and stuff, and everything would make me so emotional. And I remember going through what I call my trials and tribulations, and I think that everyone goes through their own revelations at their own time. That's my personal belief. I don't know how, a lot of people think that it's this whole thing. I'm like, no. Like, when you get your awakening, from what I understand, your awakening is a predetermined time that you and Creator actually signed, like, on a contract, or what they call your blueprint. And that I would wake up at this time on this day, and that's what we need to talk about, because my actual awakening, I was on crystal meth and I had smoked marijuana the same day, and I had these multiple voices in my head, not just me and not my conscience, because I know what I sound like in my head.
Absolutely, yeah.
There were other voices in my head that kept saying, like, no matter how many times they try to take him out, he always calls out to you. And I would always call out to Jesus or to God when I was relapsing, or, you know, had been up for a 4 or 5 day meth binge and didn't want to be here anymore and was ready to leave this planet and wanted to take my life. And then I would just pray to God and be like, help me get away from this. Like, get me away from this. And then I heard a voice. I was like, I know that these voices that I started talking to them, like, whoever's in my head besides my higher consciousness, I don't know who you are, but I know that I'm hearing it. And then another voice said, well, now that you know, they're going to come for you. And I'll never forget this. And I went for a run, like for a jog, and a car tried to run me into a wall. Like, literally, I'm here, and a car went into a wall, and everything stopped, and I could hear people's thoughts in the parking garage as I was running for help. Like, can you help me? Can you help me? And they weren't saying anything, but I was hearing. I was like, what the hell's going on? I can hear people.
Yeah.
And then I got home, and the microwave was beep, 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 and blinking 11, 11, 11, 11. Didn't really know what that meant at the time. Just unplugged it.
Yeah.
Went to wake up my roommate, like, someone just fucking tried to kill me. I don't know what's going on. Like, it was a thing where I called my mom, and everyone literally thought Erik's lost it at this point. And then the shaving of the head happened after that, the losing of the job, all kinds of stuff. Like, it just was trick, like a effect that I just could not, a domino effect. And everything just seemed to be falling apart. And everyone just kind of like pulled away from me and didn't want to talk to me, and it was fine. I really didn't care, and I'm at a point in my life where I don't care what people think anymore, because I'm like, I know that you're going to go through it at some point.
Yes.
And then you are going to end up contacting me for help, and I get it. And then they are already, something's happened, I'm starting to see it, what's going on, what does this mean? I'm like, you're on to something. I'm like, I know I am. And then to find out that there's a other half of the world is awakened too, I'm like, you go through life 36 years, and I've never known that there are people like me that are awake out there until now. And I'm like, oh, so when you say, like, people are like, what does it mean to be awake? I'm always asking, like, are you woke? Are you awake? And they're like, well, I'm breathing. I'm like, do you know what I know? Like, come on. Like, and then they're like, and I just, there's so much. Like, it's a process, and it's an amazing process. That's what I'll give everyone. Like,
it's amazing how your blinders can be kept on your whole life if you're kept in the box of religion. In my case, that's what I felt like it was, even though I love everyone that I went to church with. But if you're kept in that type of a mindset, or just in your own think-sos, you can be in your own little box of, this is what I believe, and nothing outside of that can be real. And then when you awaken, you feel... And
you just, like, you have a moment of, like, a religion tells, my religion that I was raised in tells me that I'll be burning in hell because of my sexuality. So I'm like, cool. Deuces. I'm out. I've had a lot of more signs of learning that I'm a starseed on my awakening. There's too many synchronicities and resemblances as far as, like, my initials are E.T., extraterrestrial. E.T., the movie, came out in February of 1982. I was born February 1982. I'm like, there's a lot of stuff. I did my numerology report. That stuff was freaking me out, but it was like, it's so on point that I'm just like, cool, I get it. Like, I'm not going to have to, I did my suffering for the first 35. It's now time for me to plant the seed for the next 8, and then I'll get to reap what I've sown for, like, the next 7 or 9, it said, and then I'll get to just live in bliss. So I'm like, cool, I know that I'm going to get my happy fairy tale ending. It's just not right now, and I'm totally cool with that, just to know where I'm at in my life. So
how did you know that, how many, like, your years for
I went to numerologist.com, and I paid for the numerology report.
Oh, okay.
And it says that we all sign a blueprint with Creator, and that you choose the experiences that you're going to have before you even get here, and that I would choose to dive into the depths of hell that I went through and go through the hardest stuff that I could see if I could find my way out for 35 years, and I would have the awakening at 36, and I just woke up.
Wow.
At 36. And I didn't do this report until after I had already gone through all this. So to go to experience all this, and then for it to come back and me read, what the?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what? I signed up for all this BS? Like, it's not it is BS, a lot of it. It's just a video game illusion. I get it now. But I'm like, to know that I signed up. So all that judgment that I had placed on myself, I'm like, I don't need to judge myself for this. I signed up for this and I made my way out of it. Most people don't even make their way out of it. They don't realize that they signed up for all this bullcrap that's going on in their lives.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of them being here is for them to overcome those challenges. And the thing with the near-death experience with the car crash, I've had multiple near-death experiences, but none of them have woke me up like that.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So I've caught up spiritually in a way that I think I was supposed to wake up 3 years ago, because that's when, well, I guess I'm not, but I thought I was, because I started seeing the 666 for 3 years.
Yeah.
And my awakening process and just cutting off, sorry, they're trying to stop me again. But, excuse me, I feel like I've caught up so fast, and then not only just caught up, but have surpassed people like when I had my out-of-body experience and the stuff that I had written down during automatic writing, and I came back and people were like, oh, that's like channeling and you're writing down demonic stuff and those are demons in your head. I'm like, a demon's definitely not going to tell you to claim an oath of celibacy. Yeah. And a demon's not going to tell you to quit doing drugs and to quit your job and to go see a pastor and to go into ministry. That's not a demon. So that's obviously an angel or a higher consciousness or something trying to communicate with me to say, this is where you need to go. Yes. And at that point, when I came back out of my out-of-body experience, I looked at that like, who the hell wrote this? Because I wouldn't have wrote this.
Yes.
And then I'm like, something bigger is going through me, and I understand it now. And so I'm very passionate of just finding my path and where I'm going to lead others. And I know that a lot of people don't get it, but I get it, and that's all that matters.
Absolutely. So when you like just growing up, being an adult and all that, has your goals changed since you became awakened? Like, you wanted to have a totally different life than you do now?
Yeah.
I mean,
so like I used to want to be like RuPaul's Next Drag Queen. I wanted to be famous for drag. I wanted just to be rich and famous, because that's like what everyone is striving for. I feel like in life, like, what can I do to be rich and famous? What can I do? No one's really trying to help anyone anymore. I was diagnosed 5 years ago with HIV. My entire They really want to stop me from this conversation. I'll let them pass on this one.
it was quiet before we started talking.
Like seriously, there were no planes or anything when we got here. This is so messed up. We're going to be doing this indoors from now on. Well, let's have to make a botanical garden.
Sound room.
We're going to go to Lowe's and go sit in the garden department. Because they're literally trying to stop us from this conversation. I was diagnosed with HIV 5 years ago. I've been on medicine that has made me sick multiple times. I'm at a point in my life where my doctors are putting on my charts that my religious beliefs are holding me back. Seriously.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so I'm at a point where my doctors want to put on my charts that my religious beliefs are holding me back, but how am I testing so well? How does my blood work look so amazing? How are you doing this if you're not taking a pill every day to stay alive? And I'm like, well, you're lying to people. You're telling people that they have to take this pill every day to stay alive, and that's not true. It's all in your mind, and and whatever you believe, you can conceive and you can achieve. And so I'm wanting to be more holistic and vegan and speak my, like, I am perfect health every day, and I am wealthy and I am abundant, and I do my affirmations, and people probably think I'm crazy. I'm be doing it on the street while I'm walking through the grocery store. Don't matter where I'm at. I'm just always saying something, and I look like that person that's crazy, but I'm okay with it. Like I'm crazy beautiful, and I mean, there was a quote that I read that someone said about Jesus. If Jesus was truly real, there's only two facts about that man. One, he was clinically insane, or two, he was the true Son of God. And I was like, I'd rather be like him than worry about what other people think about me. And I just want to try to help as many people as possible now. And if you're going through disease or drug addiction or anything like that, like, I'm trying to, I know what I want to create now. And for the longest time, I didn't know what path I want to go. And now I do know what I want to do and how I want to do it. And it's just really weird that it's all falling into place now. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Did you find the things that you were interested in before, like, they just don't even appeal to you now?
Yeah.
That's a pretty simple one. Most everybody agrees with that one.
I used to I was out at the club 6 days a week and having fun, and now here I am reading books and learning how to wrap crystals and what is it called? Macrame? I think that's what it's called. I'm just really into other stuff. I'm into health and fitness. I've never even went to a gym for 35 years, and here I am working for one. And then I work out like 5 days a week. I'm into nature. I'm into meditation. I'm into yoga. Everything's changed. I'm into healthy eating and vibes and just cleansing my aura and spiritual baths. And everyone's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, nothing's wrong with me.
Do you notice that if you don't exercise since you're used to it now, or if you don't do what people would consider rituals, they aren't spiritual. But if you don't do that, it just throws you way off.
Every Saturday, I always do a spiritual crystal bath. And I remember going 2 weeks without my crystal bath. Mm-hmm. And I remember coming home from work one day, everything has gone wrong today. Everything. From the second I woke up late, was supposed to already be at work, what is going on?
Yes.
And then my roommate's like, you need to go to the bathtub. And I'm like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
And so I'm learning, and now that I'm also learning that I'm an empath or whatever, I absorb people's energies, and I'm okay with that now. At first, I didn't realize that the way people would speak and stuff when I was unawakened, that I was taking that on, and that was causing more turmoil in me, and that was causing me to do drugs or whatever. I didn't know how to deal with not just my own energy, but other people's energies. And now I'm at a point where I can see them going through a bad day, or they need help, or they're venting, and I'm like, just pour it all out on me. Just give it out, and I take it now.
Because it's a tool if you know how to use it, right?
Yeah, and then I just speak everything, take it, and then tell them all, if I was in your shoes, here's how I would handle it. And I'm giving you all that energy back. I'm like, oh, thank God I have to take this home with me today. So sometimes I just have to, and even at work, I leave work on my lunch, and there's a little place like this, and they're like, where do you go on your lunch? I'm like, oh, I walk 2 blocks down the street into the forest and go and meditate. And they're like, I'm like, y'all been working my nerves today, so I gotta go meditate. It's crazy. I love it.
So your eating habits, those have changed since you started?
I haven't had red meat in almost a year. I am still doing chicken and fish, but I don't do very much of it at all. I'm trying to go onto the raw vegan, raw fruit diet, but I've heard it's a process. And then I went and spoke to another person that's a metaphysicist, and she said, your body knows what it wants. Yes. Don't deny it what it wants. And I'm Mexican, so I love beans and cheese and dairy and nachos. I'm having nachos when we're done with this. So I'm like, it's crazy. But then at the same time, I get assistance from the government as far as groceries and stuff for my HIV condition.
Yes.
And when I go, it works my nerve to see that half of the free groceries that are given to you are GMO.
Yes.
And they're genetically modified, and they're not healthy, and they cause more disease in the body. And I'm like, that's something that I know that's my next bandwagon of something that I want to do. Is if they're not going to assist people like me, then I maybe need to create that.
Yes,
so I can be like,
absolutely.
you know what? Why don't you come over here where you can get an actually alkaline, vegan, healthy meal that's only not going to make you more healthy and help you rid yourself of a disease that have been told or led to believe that there is no cure. There's a cure. The cure is with God. Everyone knows that. There are so many systems that are not working the way that they should.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that are at the top that don't care about the rest of us that fall from the third down.
Yes.
I was like, and it needs to be flipped.
Yes.
And I'm ready to flip it.
Absolutely. Are you aware of anything besides, you mentioned that you think you're a star seed, and is there any other thing that you, or even going more into the star seed thing, is there anything that you know that you are different than people here that seem to be here?
I've always known that I was the awkward one in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I always know that I'm the life of the party, and it's crazy, I'm the life of the party, and I like to have fun and stuff, but when I'm around a whole group of people, I always have that moment, no matter if I'm drinking or sober or not, where I'm away by myself and I'm viewing everyone, and I'm just this one's out here doing this, and this one's out here doing that, this one's out here doing this, and I'm like, am I the only one that does this? I don't know. I find myself strange on that. And then what people seem to think is trending, I always think is already outdated. It's really weird. I'm like, they're like, this is trending, this is cool, and I'll go watch an episode or something. I'm like, this is boring. It's I don't understand how y'all think this is cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't get it. But the stuff that we think is cool, they think is nerdy. And that's the funny thing is I grew up a nerd. And then since high school till now, I have repressed being intelligent and intellectual and smart and And then here I am returning it all back, like, nope, I'm going back. It's like, it's
Yeah.
time. It's time to ascend. And
Yep.
there's lots of stuff that we need to change before we go. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I have one last question here, and it is, how do you see your future? Does it have more meaning or purpose than it did before you began this whole process?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I see myself one day living in a RV and traveling the country, and then I want to have my own personal jet one day, traveling the world and going to people that need help and assistance. And I'm not really worried about the money or the fame or any of that. Like, it doesn't matter. I want to.
You don't have to worry about the how.
Yeah, I want to just make sure that Erik leaves his own mark on the planet and on this humanity as a whole, to make sure that I've done the most that I could possibly do. So whenever I am out of this realm and I stand before my Creator, like, he's like, you did a really good job. I'm like, I know. Like, I'm not at that point where I'm like, oh, you messed up, and I don't believe in all that anymore. Like, no. It's more of like, here's what you signed up for, and I'm gonna get there. Like, did I finish it, or do I need to go back? Like, because I'm really gonna try to finish it this time. I don't want.
I'm not leaving.
I don't want to come back again, unless I'm a dolphin or a flamingo or something.
Wow! Oh, two of them. Wow. Okay, well, this is going to be the end of our podcast. We have so many beautiful things around. Like, there's butterflies flying near us, airplanes trying to keep us from talking, and yeah, very cool stuff. So
they really don't want us talking.
No,
it's crazy.
For all the people who judge without knowing, just throw the peace on, tell them good vibes only, yeah. They were hating, but we didn't even notice, cause we're on them good vibes only, yeah. The shit gets wavy, like we're in the ocean, cause we're on them good vibes only, yeah. For all the people who judge but don't know me, I just throw the peace on, tell them good vibes only.